Hello and welcome back to Series 1 of Leading the Herd, proudly supported by Embryo, a global leader in assisted reproductive technologies. I'm your host, Rebecca Arnott, and today we're cutting straight to the nuts and bolts of on-farm OPU or egg retrieval. Not the genetics, not the drugs, just the equipment, facilities and resources we recommend having in place to help ensure a successful program. Whether you're running a donor centre or hosting an OPU technician and oocytologist on farm, this is your practical guide to getting your place OPU ready. And if you're set up well for OPU, then you're also set up for embryo transfer, assuming this will be done at the same set of yards. First up, let's look at the infrastructure. For OPU to go smoothly, it's important to have a solid and functional set of yards to help cattle flow through them calmly and with minimal stress. Firstly, a reliable crush with vet access is probably the most important element for OPU. Donors generally need to be restrained for 15 to 20 minutes while the egg pickup is being done, so a good quality crush, ideally with a vet or kick gate for palpation and aspiration, is critical. Hydraulic systems are great, but a solid manual crush works well too, as long as it's relatively quiet and stable. And please ensure everything is in good working order well before the technician arrives. Weather protection is ideal, not so much for the sake of the vet's comfort, as they work through all conditions, but more for minimising risk and stress in general. A roofed area or covered vet pad will not only help reduce stress and the impact from any inclement weather, but what is absolutely paramount is the shade provided. It is critical that the oocytes collected aren't exposed to direct sunlight. Sometimes this may need to be a makeshift setup, especially if OPU is carried out early in the morning and direct sunlight is coming in from the side. We have seen many a fabulous shade improvisation on OPU day, ranging from tarps hanging from beams, strategically parked front-end loaders, through to big square bales stacked one on top of each other to block that early morning sun. Just make sure the safety of you and your staff comes first. If in doubt, discuss shade in advance with your service provider and ideally have this set up prior to OPU day. We'll post some examples of different setups on our socials if you're looking for inspiration. Next is having a stable power supply. If you don't have power at the yards, i.e. a standard 240 volt outlet, a generator is essential for running the technician's equipment. The technician will bring all the equipment they need, however having a table and power set up in advance on the off side of the crush is always appreciated. I'm sure it goes without saying that any extension cords should be run above the crush where possible and not across high traffic areas through puddles or loose gravel. Having the owner or manager on hand and 1 or 2 staff members is highly recommended for the day to go smoothly. That is, someone to make decisions if or as required, someone to keep the cattle moving through the crush, and someone to run the oocytes back to the lab after each aspiration, if it is located more than a short walk away. Having a clean, level working area with minimal dust is also important. Ideally, the area around the crush should be firm and free from deep mud, loose gravel or manure buildup. Concrete or hard-packed earth is ideal. The big non-negotiable is minimising dust, i.e. contamination. If it is dry or at all dusty, hosing the surrounding yards or setting up a sprinkler system prior to the commencement of OPU is highly recommended. These factors can significantly impact the critical embryo development rate or EDR, so anything you can do to protect the quality of the oocytes, the better. Providing cattle with access to hay, clean water and shade while they're yarded is best practice, especially water and shade in warm conditions, and it's also good for calves if the donors are wet. While it's possible to run a program without clean water for hand washing, rinsing and sanitation, it's not ideal and again could compromise results. A garden tap and hose near the yards is sufficient if there is enough pressure, and if possible, have a drainage area or bucket set up to minimise the mud and mess. And lastly, from a yard perspective, it's helpful if there is a 44 drum or equivalent close by for rubbish, and ideally vehicle access close to the crush, not only for gear drop-off and setup, but also for the person running the oocytes back to the lab after each aspiration, if the lab is located more than a few minutes walk from the crush. Now let's talk about the lab environment itself. Whether you're working with a mobile team, have your own lab space, or need to improvise on the day, this space matters. The key requirements for the lab are cleanliness, power, no direct sunlight, and less than a 5-minute walk or drive from the crush. I can't emphasize enough the importance of providing a clean and enclosed space. Oocyte searching and grading must be done in a dust-free, fly-free, and stable environment without any direct sunlight coming in. Most producers don't have a vet room near the crush, which is fine. Most of the time, our oocytologists end up working at big desks set up in people's kitchens, offices, or spare rooms. Please provide a comfy upright chair if you can, as well as a clean table and rubbish bin, as they spend many hours sitting there working under the microscope. If there isn't such a house or office close by, the next best thing is a sealed room, shipping container, or clean enclosed shed bay with a door. A reliable source of power is just as critical in the lab as it is at the yards in order to run the equipment needed. If in doubt, having a generator on hand can be a good insurance policy. Lighting doesn't need to be particularly bright, just enough to see adequately. Temperature control is important, given temperature extremes or swings can impact oocyte viability. The ideal is room temperature or around 25 degrees. Unless it's really hot, we try to avoid handling oocytes in air conditioning or under fans to avoid sudden changes from the outside temperature and to minimise contamination from any dust in the air. Ensure the lab is a low traffic area. Try to prevent visitors, kids or dogs from wandering through unless prior notice is given, as once again, this is a critical component that can make or break the success of a program. Add a sign if need be, as egg work requires concentration and cleanliness. And lastly, it would be remiss of me not to mention a loo or a long drop. Not essential, but generally appreciated. So there you have it, a no-nonsense guide to getting your farm IVP ready. The more attention you pay to all the little 1%ers, as we call them, the more likely you are to be pleased with the outcome. Check the episode notes for a printable checklist and get in touch if you'd like to learn more. In the interim, please like, share, or review this podcast if you found it useful. I'm Rebecca Arnott, and I look forward to your company next time for our last episode on getting started with IVP. Thank you once again to Embryo for supporting the Leading the Herd podcast and powering reproductive progress globally. Our team of bovine reproductive specialists are working not only around Australia, but around the world to optimise future breeding systems. If you'd like to learn more or book a program, give us a call or get in touch via the Embryo website, embryo.com. And if you found today's episode interesting or of value, please like it, share it, and leave us a review. Let's accelerate genetic improvement sustainably and together.